Alright guys, I'm giving away everything that's on my Titan. I'm done with it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's pretty strong, it's pretty fun. I didn't spend a ton on it, but it's medium cheap. And as you can see, even with medium cheap stuff, it can one pop a max tier gest, so no problems there. But yeah, it's been really fun. If you're into this kind of playstyle where you just smash things, it's actually great fun. This build's really canon to the character. This isn't a Temporalis double Ugg boot, cast on dodge, ice wall, auto explosion, turbo fart build. It's just like a canon Titan. You just blow shit up and you have a lot of fun, and it was just amusing, right? I like to play the RPG in RPG fashion. I guess that's why they call it a role-playing game. But yeah, so you can even play this with like one hammer. Here I'm just running with one hammer just to show you what's possible. It's just one hammer, no shield, right? So just running around with one cultist hammer, just kind of smacking stuff, and it works totally fine. Like even in the tier 16 breach, you can smack shit and it works great. But yeah, I mean, you could set this up for really cheap and kind of scale it as you get better stuff. But even with medium cheap items, it works really well and it's lots of fun. So. And I mean, even again, one hammer, you can just run up to the boss, give him a couple of love taps, boom, he's stunned. You hit him with a hammer and he's just gonna die, right? So holding a hammer in both hands, you're getting way more damage if you do. But even with just one hammer and no shield, you can pretty much one-shot every single boss in the game. And then when you get to tier 4 uber bosses, you can one-shot them as well with 2 hammers and some decent gear. So. But yeah, the rotation's really simple. When you fight bosses with this, you basically just pop them, they get stunned, then you hammer them, they drop, so you just wait for them to burn out. And I mean, a lot of this was when I was running really crappy gear, right? Even the crappy gear just worked perfectly fine. So once I got a couple of decent hammers, it was way stronger, and that was what you seen at the end there. Of course, I made the decision to Valor both of them and, wrecked them, but that's my fault. So lesson learned. But yeah, the rotation's the same on every boss. You just pop them with Earth Shatter, they get instant stunned. You slap them with a hammer and they just die. So you can just do this rinse and repeat on every pinnacle boss, rinse and repeat on all the big bosses. It just works the same. You just pop them all, they drop, they're dead, and it's over. So it's super easy, pretty easy to set up. It's a lot of fun, like, if you really like smashing things and blowing things up and just, being a badass with a big hammer, I had a ton of fun with it. It was great fun. But yeah, I mean, if you're bored of the mage played style, or you're bored of spamming Deadeye lightning arrows, this is pretty good change of pace. And it's a little slow, but you do feel like you're playing Titan style when you're playing it. So. It is enjoyable, but as you can see, none of my gear is really that crazy. It's all pretty straightforward. But I'll take you through all the skill gems and everything so you can see what you need to do to run this. So the Mace Strike is just Magnifying Effect, Elemental Focus, Martial Tempo, obviously. Fire Pen you might not need on there and have to just add it for extra damage. So Mace Strike's pretty much what you use for clear. If for some reason they nerf the Cultist Hammer in the future, you can just swap your Mace Strike out for Leap Slam and just Leap Slam everything, and that works perfectly fine too. You don't even need to use Mace Strike. You could Leap Slam and Earth Shatter and just clear the whole map that way, and works totally fine. Hammer of the Gods, probably the most important skill, because you're going to need this for every single boss. That's just your one-shot skill. So Conk Effect, Searing Flame, Eternal Flame, Primal Armament, Fire Infusion. It's just pure damage. That's all you need. And even as it sits right now, it's saying it's 167 to 350 on the Ignite, 200 to 450 on the other one. That's not accurate, right? Like, the problem is, like, tooltips lie to you. You can't trust them. So anytime you're looking at a build, you can't look at tooltips, because tooltips they're full of it. Don't ever believe tooltips. So I mean, Leap Slam is pretty straightforward. I'm just using it as spoiler so that you can heal when you drop. But you jump in, Earth Shatter, blow it up, right? It's pretty straightforward. On the Earth Shatter, these gems are important. Fire Exposure and Strip Away, you really need these. These are super important. So you have to run those. That's kind of what you need to do when you're doing your setup. Upheaval for more of those little things to pop up. It just gives you more little spikes, so to speak. And then the Font of Rage just gives you free damage, right? So you're getting free damage. You're just sitting in the rage, you pop them, it, you know, blows up the boss, lights him on fire, and then you slap him with a big hammer. So yeah, the Font of Rage gives you a lot of damage. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize, is that when your rage is fully stacked, you are getting a boatload of damage. It's a lot of damage, right? Like even if I sit in this, you'll be able to see on the tooltip, when I go back in, there will be way more damage. See, it's already, the Hammer of Gods has already gone up 50,000, and the rage isn't even filled up yet. So when it goes up to 30, even with these bad hammers, you can see that the ignites jumped 150,000 on both weapons. So you're getting way more damage when you pop that, right? And again, tooltips lie to you, so don't trust tooltips for damage. It's way more damage than it says it is. So trusting tooltips is a new mistake. Don't ever make that new mistake in this game. If you ever trust your tooltip, then yeah, you can't go off your tooltip. You gotta factor in a whole bunch of things that aren't on your tooltip. We're using Earthquake 2. Earthquake's really good. It's underrated. It's really fun. What you can do is you can use it as like a CC skill. No one uses it properly. So when you see, this is weapon set 2. See, like that's what Earthquake looks like, weapon set 2. It looks super underwhelming, looks pointless. That's weapon set 1. Covers the whole screen. Now, what this does is it acts like a crowd control skill. People don't realize that. It's not for damage, it's for crowd control. All this jagged ground makes enemies really slow. So when you slap it down in the middle of a breach, you're getting mobbed, you just slap that down and all the enemies basically stop moving, so that you can kind of swing away or blow them up or do whatever you need to do. But it'll just save your ass, right? Because it slows them down big time. The little, yeah, see there you go. See, weapon set 1. So just swap those around so you get a better idea. But your damage tooltips obviously all change. Herald of Ash is your main clear skill. Infernal Cry pops these those little spikes, and you just need those to boost your slams. We're running Herald of Ash and Blasphemy on weapon set 1, and Overwhelming Presence and Blasphemy on weapon set 2. So that's pretty important if you want to just get the stuns off on the bosses. So, because if you hit them with that Overwhelming Presence, it lowers the element to ailment threshold, which isn't super important because you're pretty much going to ignite every time no matter what anyway. But the stun threshold is really important, so you're going to need that. You want to be able to stun bosses if you can. It just makes your life way easier than they just freeze. Blasphemy, really important. You got flammability on there. That's that little aura around my feet. You can see it. So that just drops their fire resistance. It's really nice. So minus 35 to fire resistance. You're doing all fire damage. So the less fire resistance they have, the better. And I just threw in the curse boosters in it. And then vitality's just in there for life regen. So that's the whole purpose behind all of that. It's pretty straightforward. And then shield charge, of course, is just for moving around, just for traversal. Helps you get around the map faster, helps you run through areas faster. You know, when you combine the shield charge and the leaf slam, it's, you know, that's just how you get around. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So that gives you an idea of how all that stuff works. As far as the skill tree goes, you know, this is how I set it up. You can swap that and take that second node up top for boss damage if you need it, but I mean, it's been fine without it. So there's 20% more damage on that one if you need the extra damage, but just go straight down here, take all the damage, every bit of damage you can. This is actually anointed. It's on the amulet, so I mean, that's a good one to anoint. If you can't path to it, if you can path to it, it's even better because it's a good node. And then this is just on a Megalomaniac, so that's why that's lit up. And then we just went down here, we grabbed, these two nodes are actually more important than you think. I'll explain that later. And then there's this one. I don't know if this node is glitched, but with Avatar of Fire, I didn't think this node would work, but it looks like it does. So I've been using it, and it looks like it's a big boost in damage, so it seems like it works pretty good. And then come down here, and then this is actually just on weapon set 2. So weapon set 2 we've just set up for big damage, so everything that's on weapon set 2 is going to be big damage. Everything that's on weapon set 1 is going to be area of effect, right? Because you need the AoE for clearing, but you need the damage for one-tapping the bosses. I pathed up here and grabbed this for the strength. If you don't need the strength, you don't have to, so that saves you 3 points right there. If you have lots of strength, you wouldn't even need any of those nodes. You could just use those for more damage, right? So that would give you 5 nodes of more damage right there, but I just took them for the extra strength. You'll get a little bit of damage from having those strength nodes anyway, just because you're running one of the nodes down below. But jewels aren't anything crazy. They're just fire damage, mace damage, regeneration. When up here, grab all the stun threshold stuff. Grab resolute technique. This is important. Recover life on kill. That's important. And then plus elemental damage, some aura skill stuff. But the life on kill is really, really important. You have to get like 1 or 2 jewels with that. Your life will be miserable without them. So just make sure you get like 1 or 2 jewels with recover life on kill. But yeah, up top, this is again weapon set right there. It transitions, you can see it. See, it's not lit up anymore. So that's all just area effect stuff. So you swap back, boom, you got big area effect, right? So you're just running area effect on your first weapon set. So that's just for clear when you're running through maps and stuff. That's what you'd want to use. Down here, this is like another little tiny split. So it just splits off and you grab lasting trauma. So you need that for the big ignites. So that's again weapon set 2 for boss damage. Come down here, fire damage, life regen, damage with maces. So like nothing crazy on these jewels. They're just whatever, right? They're nothing special. They're cheap. They're like a few exalted orbs, nothing crazy. Brute strength, that's just damage for strength. Giant's blood, 2 hammers, obviously. Another jewel down here, regen, fire damage, damage with maces. Up here, these 2 nodes are really, really good. You want to get both of those if you can. These 2 nodes up here are actually pretty good, but I don't know. If you had extra points, you could pick those 2 up. You'd want to go from the top side and down. You wouldn't want to go up on the left side. So you'd want to go up, grab the top one, and then down to the second one. But I'll come back to that later and explain why those nodes are good. But they're better than they seem. But those 2 nodes at the bottom, really, really good. Really, really good, those nodes. Area of effect, again, this is all weapons at 1. So, you know, if you swap, it's not going to light up anymore. But yeah, that's just all weapons at 1. That's just area damage. I didn't bother to like min-max this. It just, you know, I was just kind of running it and just using it as I went, and it felt pretty good. This is the Megalomaniac that I got for this. You could get a way better one. This is nothing special. I think this was like 25 exalts or something. It was super cheap. But yeah, it gave me Zone of Control. Zone of Control is just, you know, that fire aura just slows them down as well. So it's just kind of nice, complimentary. You get a little bit of CC, and then it came with the Blood Rush also. So just more attack speed. Attack speed feels really good. If you don't have attack speed, it feels really, really bad. So you're definitely going to need that. But up here, this is all attack speed. This is attack speed, so that's all good. Down here, grab Polymathy because you need the attributes. Well, at least I needed it for all the int and everything, right? But I would probably swap this out for controlled metamorphosis, to be honest, because if you used a controlled metamorphosis there with like a medium ring, you'd probably be able to grab all those nodes and you wouldn't even have to path to them, and then that would save you a bunch of points. You could spend those on damage instead, right? So yeah, I'd probably put a metamorphosis in here, and then you're gonna have way more damage, right? Like, there's just one example of like 50% more damage that I didn't bother to get on this, and it still works totally fine. So, you know, you could get way more damage on this. Yeah, I came up here, I grabbed all his mace damage because, you know, obviously mace damage is nice. Grab the Avatar Fire, super important. And this node looks really bad, 75% of damage compared to fire, but it's so good. It's like crazy. It looks stupid, but it's great. These nodes are actually really good up here. So I just split them off to weapon set 2 because they're for damage, right? So yeah, this node looks bad because it's 40% damage with hits against ignited enemies. But how that works is when you drop these pillars and you pop them, the enemy's ignited. So when that hammer comes down, there's way more damage there than you think, because there's the 40% damage coming from this node, and then there's the other 2 nodes back up by the start, right? So these other 2 nodes right here are 21% each. So you're actually getting 82% more against burning enemies. Like I said, there's another way the tooltips lie to you, right? So you can't trust your tooltips. But yeah, you drop the pillars. As soon as you pop those, the enemy's going to burn every time. So you're going to have an ignited enemy, and then you just slap them with a big hammer and you do way more damage. So same thing here. This is also weapon sets, so you just swap for that. Shows up right there, pretty straightforward. Just more attack speed. Attack speed is just like really important. If you don't have attack speed, it feels so bad. It feels terrible if you don't have attack speed. But yeah, I just grabbed Prism Guard, passed up, grabbed all that extra resist stuff. This is weapon set 2, so just more damage. So just more single target damage when you do the swap, so it's totally fine. This is a cheap against the darkness. You could get a way better one. This one's literally just damages fire, extra fire, and max life. You could get one with double damage, and your damage is going to be way higher because you're going to have so much more damage. I didn't even bother to do that, so you could totally do that. But yeah, and then those rage nodes right there wouldn't be bad either if you're putting the against the darkness in the spot. This is just more damage weapon set 2. This is more clear weapon set 1, so that's pretty straightforward. That's just weapon set 1 too. Probably just had extra points, so that's just where I threw them. Like, again, I didn't bother to go in and like min-max every single point, but like it's pretty good the way it is. This node is really good, but it sucks having to spend the 3 points to get to it. But that node is really good. If you could maybe get like that on a Megalomaniac or something, that'd be really good. I just went up here. Armor and any energy shield's way better than flat armor, because flat armor is just absolute trash in early access. That might change. Hopefully that changes, but gives you an idea anyway. I had an extra point. That's why there's one on that left. I don't know why. I just dropped it there. Like, again, not optimized at all, but it still works totally fine the way it is. But yeah, just pathed up, grab those. And I got a +2 to hammer the gods. You could get a +3. Again, more damage I didn't even bother to get. If you get a +3, you're going to still do way more damage. So, and then I just grabbed Zealot's Oath because I was up here. And then, life regen goes onto your energy shield. So, yeah, this all works pretty good. You can make a couple of little tweaks. It's pretty good. It's pretty fun. You're pretty tanky. You don't die too much. You can wade through enemies. You can take a lot of hits and dish out a lot of damage. It's pretty fun. Life on kill on jewels is really nice. That's probably the big one. Life on kill on jewels, and then a little bit of regeneration to make up for using blood magic and taking hits, and then the Zealot's Oath. It's kind of all you need. But yeah, I would swap that out for controlled metamorphosis. Because if you did, then you could get a lot more damage. Like, you could go up here and grab this with all those points, and then you wouldn't have to anoint that. So that would be good. You could go up here and grab like all this like extra attack speed, and then you wouldn't have to have that right there on the Megalomaniac. You could grab all this. This would be good too. That stuff would all be fine. What else is there? Oh, there's some more right here. This would be good. This would be good right here. You could grab that damage. These would be really good if you could grab these. I just didn't have enough points to come up. These are all really good. So that would be even more damage if you got extra points. So lots of damage there. But yeah, even kind of how it's set up now, it's fine. You could make a couple of little tweaks. You could get some Megalomaniacs that are actually good. You could anoint some things. You could do a lot with this that would make it better. But as it sits, it's pretty strong. It's pretty tanky. Does quite a bit of damage. The most important thing on these weapons is you need elemental damage with attacks, and then you need plus to melee skills. So that's really what you need. It doesn't matter how slow they are on your second weapon set, because you're just dropping hammers with them anyway. But yeah, for clearing, you want hammers with like attack speed, elemental damage if you can get it, and then obviously melee skills, right? Oh, this shield. What we're doing with this shield is kind of just a goofy little thing for like in trials or anywhere there's hazard damage. I just have this shield sitting on a weapon swap. So I just, when you're standing in like a hazard in the Trials of Chaos, you can basically just weapon swap to this goofy little shield. And it just gives you a bunch of free regeneration, right? So you end up with like 300 and something regeneration per second. So if you're standing in lightning bolts in the Trials of Chaos, or one of the grounds that's about to pop, they just swap to that shield and just kind of soak it, and it'll just sort of auto heal you, and you don't have to worry about using potions or anything. Or if you get slammed by like a big boss attack and you need to heal fast, you can weapon swap and pop a potion at the same time and like double how fast your health comes back. So that's pretty good. The rest of my gear is nothing crazy. Just like got a good helmet. I'd probably swap this for Ad Series if you could. I just needed the intelligence on it. I didn't have enough intelligence. Like, maybe I do now. I probably just haven't bothered to switch it, but Ad Series is better, honestly. And then you also got this Off's Blood amulet, which is really good, so you can run that as well. And that just gives you fire exposure, presence, kind of nice. But that's pretty straightforward. And then, just whatever amulet, just plus melee skills. This one's crappy. You could get a way better one. I just swapped that one in for bosses if I need to fight like a big boss, because then you get the 3 melee skills, you do way more damage. Just a 5-socket Warrior Invictus, nothing crazy. Kind of whatever rings, fire damage, strength, int, resists, right? That's kind of the most important things: fire damage, life attributes, resists, strength on the boots, life on the boots, ingenuity, and then just hands of wisdom in action. So pretty straightforward there. Everything's pretty simple. Even as a setup now, it works really good. You could swap out a lot of this for way better stuff. Like, I think you could get your Hammer of the Gods up to like fucking, I don't know, like 100 million damage. Like, I'm pretty sure if you had optimal weapons and better rings and more skills just where you can get them, I think you'd have no problem getting up to like 80 to 100 million one Hammer of the Gods. So I think it would be really good. But yeah, that's basically it. That's how it works. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm giving all this stuff away, so throw me a like, subscribe if you want to be involved in more of these giveaways. I'll just keep posting them whenever I'm done with a character, tell you guys how it works, give away the stuff when I'm done with it and I don't need it anymore. And then throw me a comment down below. Let me know that you want this stuff. If you want it, then I'll just pick one of the people out of the comment section and I'll donate it to them. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.